Hi, welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of The Weekly Wave. I'm Matthew Lyons.
And I'm Aaron Johnson.
Hi, this is Matt Lyons.
And Aaron Johnson from Abington's Green Wave Gazette.
Tune in next week to see our first ever episode of The Weekly Wave.
And be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
I think The Weekly Wave, or at least some variation of it, was inevitable. If it wasn't us, it was going to be someone else. I think someone was going to do something very similar to this if it wasn't us.
It was sophomore year, and you came to me, and you're like, hey, I'm on the Gazette. It needs a podcast. As one of its categories, get like a snow badge. I want to do it. And you didn't necessarily ask me to do this. But as soon as you said that, I kind of jumped on it. Like, whatever you need, if you want me to like to direct it, produce it, be a part of it, I will. And then we kind of took that step to making this thing. And by no means did we know what we were doing. It was kind of something out of my wheelhouse. I wasn't really too much into media production. I know you and a couple of your friends and Derek, our director, are into media production. But for me, it was kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. But I totally welcomed it.
I was sitting in a Green Wave Gazette meeting, and we were going through the snow badges, and there was one for podcasting. And I was like, oh, it's like podcasts are kind of cool. I'm like, we have a film studio that's not being used nearly as much as it should be. And I was like, why don't we have a podcast? Like, this needs to be done. And I was really excited about it. I kept thinking about it. And then the next day at lunch, because I didn't have any classes with you yet in the day, I remember I had my bowl of chicken broccoli ziti, which is a great lunch by the school, very underrated. I was eating that, and I told you, and I only took about 2 bites because we were talking about it the entire time. And we emailed Miss Flommer, and then, like, collectively, the more and more we talked about it, the more excited we got.
I mean, when we promoted it first, when we promoted the trailer, I expected to get maybe 7 views. It's like something small, but I mean, we got like a 400 view platform where people on the Facebook and on different social media platforms. I mean, it wasn't a lot, don't get me wrong, because we're a small town, but it was really awesome to see that people. We haven't made an episode yet. This is our announcement, and people were excited to see something new to come through the studio. And I feel like that's what the motivator for me was, because I think it was only a couple of comments, but even those comments, knowing that they were excited for it,
yeah,
it was awesome. It was awesome to see the community kind of support this idea.
Definitely.
But our first season, it was a hybrid of us kind of exploring, and it was us really finding our talent and our niche interests. I know for me, it was a lot of trying and failing, seeing what would work.
Our first 2 episodes, we thought we could handle 2 guests a week, and we jumped shipped on that really quickly. Episode 3, we didn't even have a guest until like 1 o'clock that day, and then we were like, Rachel, do you want to talk about John Morello's Dirt that just happened? She's like, yeah, I'd love to. And I mean, that ended up being a great episode. But from then on, we were like, okay, 2's kind of pushing it. But I mean, finding guests has always been an adventure and a real hardship sometimes,
Yeah.
to say the least. Season 1 was interesting. It was obviously the first time we did it. We did a test run with Miss Flommer here, which was our announcement video. And I remember we were here till 5:30 maybe at night. We shot it. We talked about it. I edited it. And then we created the Green Wave Gazette YouTube channel because we needed a place to host this. And it was so much fun. It was 30 seconds long, and it was just us. We talked to the camera. We said, hey, a show is coming. It's not here yet, but it's on its way. And that was so much fun. And I think then I realized, this has even more potential than I thought it did. And this was pitched as a podcast, and I think it has, the energy of a podcast. But the longer it went on and the more it evolved, it's really like a talk show podcast hybrid. And I think the more comfortable we get, and then the more kind of creativity we unlock, we delve deeper into that talk show format.
Yeah, and I would say in our 3-year time, we've taken on so many different forms, in both the interview sense and just ourselves. I feel like every season you can kind of look back and it's like a timeline. You can see who we are as a person. I mean, so many different hairstyles. We just look so different, and it's been awesome, like, to do this for so long, where you can see yourself change.
Yeah.
I think season 2 kind of expanded the scope of this show.
Absolutely.
It's not only we were just like a school podcast, but not only from the guest standpoint, but as a whole. I mean, we added segments to our show with guessing it in movie time to really explore our interests and what we wanted to see on the podcast, and we got local community members, people from kind of like the South Shore Boston area. We expanded out. And it was a really fun season. I think season 2 holds a special place in my heart as my favorite season because at that point we were experienced with the studio. We knew what we wanted. And we just went out, we experimented, we had fun, and it was just a blast for me.
Absolutely. And season 2 also introduced our director, Derek Terrell. And he also, was with me on Movie Time, which you directed. So it was fun to kind of see like a bit of a shakeup, and then I mean, guessing it was just so weird and fun, and it was. I remember when you had that idea, and you're like, "Oh, we're gonna wear these masks," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." And then you were so excited to order these masks on Amazon. It was like a 12-pack, and you showed them to me like 2 days later, and I saw like the cat eyes. I was like, "What is this? This is so strange." But I loved it, and doing that was so much fun.
Yeah, guessing it was definitely the brainchild of what I've seen on YouTube, plus my little twist, what I wanted to see from it. And I kind of meshed it all together. I used my weird mind, I would say, and I created the taste testing, like fun little game. The first one was definitely like a little rough. I didn't really know what I wanted with it, but as it got on, like. I just had so much fun hosting and being in that show, and I feel like if you look back on it, I mean, I'm very comfortable in interviews, but I feel like guessing it is where you really see like me in my most comfortable state on the show. Like it was a place for me where I just had so much fun. I got to joke around with the guests. We got to taste test food, and I loved it.
Like at first, I didn't really get much flavor in this one, but now it's got like a nice mouthfeel. I'm digging it. What are you laughing at my descriptions?
So, in season 1, my sister was on the show for Group 351, which is a organization she's a part of, and I got to come in here again. I've been in the studio prior, just working with Justin Shanahan and Matt on movies that Matt and I have made with Justin and with the studio equipment. So I was, familiar enough with the studio. I'd been in here before. I've used the equipment, talked to the staff. And I came in for the first time to see what they did on the Weekly Wave. Now, prior to this, I was always listening to the Weekly Wave. I would listen to it, on the way home from work, or I would, watch it at home after school. I was a big fan of the show. I was so happy for them, loved what they were doing here. And I came in and I watched, and I sat, right back there and just kind of watched them do their thing. And it was really cool. And it was awesome. I just kind of watched and knew I wanted to be a part of it. Now, they already had a director at the time, and I know I want to be a director when I grow up, and I was respectful of that. I didn't try and do a hostile takeover, and I would never do anything like that. But once I heard that, for season 2, they had a directorial position open, I hopped on it. I didn't let Matt go to anyone else. I wanted to direct really badly. There was a scheduling conflict with the other director, and as soon as I hopped on the show, I like to think that I put like some of my own twists on it when it comes to like some of the shots, some of the switching and stuff like that. But as Matt was the creator, I really wanted to, as the director, really bring the creator's vision to life. Matt, I know how special this is to Matt and Aaron, and I just wanted to make it, the best it could be, and I wanted to make it, it's their thing, and I want to see what I can do to make it the best I can and help them make it even better. And that's where some of the segments came in. I said, Matt, you have movie time from season 1. Matt had begun to talk about more segments, and I said, Matt, we should, get together and do this movie time together. He had that in season 1, and I know he wanted to bring it back, and I said, you're not doing a movie segment without me, Matt. I'm hopping in on that, and movie time was amazing. I miss movie time so much. You know, all of the movies we saw, going to the movie theater, seeing a movie, knowing I was going to come back and do a show about it was so fun. You watch a movie in a whole different way, and it was just a great time to come back and talk about movies with my friends, teachers, and it was just so much fun.
Even though we
That's-
spoiled
that's
it for you.
good.
It's
Sorry.
all right. It's
That's
all
good
right. I watched it
research.
for
That's
research.
good research.
So
That's good
it actually
research.
was super helpful.